So I wanted to talk about the six-figure mistakes today because they're costly. And if people know that they're losing six figures, right, I think they would think differently about some of their actions and decisions. And so everywhere you look, everyone is talking about opportunity. Opportunity is the buzzword. You see ads talking about opportunity. You see trainers talking about opportunity. Online marketers pitch this industry as the promised land, the place where you step in, learn a script, and boom, 10K per month. And that's what it's being sold as on the outside. When we get in, we notice something different, right? This is not my experience, and this is not the experience for so many people in this industry. What I have found in my career is it's not so much the missed opportunity that is the problem. You miss an opportunity and another one comes through. There's an abundance of opportunities. What I found is it making the costly mistakes, that's where people are losing. Because to be honest, most people are not transitioning into remote sales and saying, hey, I got 100 grand in the bank. If I don't make any money for 2 years, I'm fine. Not a big deal, right? I got a big nest egg. I got all the time in the world. I can, make mistakes and here's 10 grand gone. Here's 20 grand gone. Here's 30 grand gone. If I don't make it back for 6, 8, 12 months, I'm fine. That's not most people's experience. Most people are coming in with some urgency. Some people are coming in with some desperation, right? And so I always tell people when joining UCM, people are not joining me because they don't think they can do it on their own. We're both very much aware that they can do it on their own. They join UCM because they realize over the last 7 years, I've made every mistake you could possibly make, and I'm helping you avoid those landmines. I'm helping you do it faster and do it better. I'm not only teaching you what I know, right? I'm making it condensed so that you can surpass my results. I want my students to make more than I made in faster time with a better life. That's the goal here, because I had to go through trial and error, right? Which means a lot of mistakes, a lot of time, a lot of wasted decisions, right? But basically wisdom comes from experience and experience comes from fucking up. So anytime that you can leverage someone else's fuck ups, that is a good resource to have. And luckily for you guys, I have fucked up more than anybody I know. So let's leverage all of those so you don't have to make the same mistakes, right? So by far, the biggest mistake that damn near everybody makes when starting out and continues to make is choosing the wrong offer. It's almost like a rite of passage. It's almost something we all joke about, right? When you see someone 3, 4, 5 months into this industry, it's a safe bet to assume that they've taken at least one of the wrong offers, myself included. It's damn near impossible to find someone who hasn't started out in the wrong offer. Think about that. 40,000 people in this industry. I don't know anybody. I talk to as many people as anybody in this industry on a daily basis. I can't remember the last time that I spoke to someone who started in the right offer. How crazy is that? Offer selection is something that no one is teaching, and it's the most common and most costly mistake in this industry. Think about that for a second. It's not like it's off the radar. I built UCM. I talked to 100 people who were struggling in this industry, and that was across the board the biggest problem. So it's not like these trainers are not aware of this, right? It's not like it's blind to us. It's not like I found some little secret. It's evident. Everybody knows it. We even joke about it, right? And it has the potential cost of hundreds of thousands of dollars. When I calculated this is only 4 months. Luckily, I learned quickly enough of these are not the right offers. I calculated how much it cost me in those 4 months taking the wrong offer. It was somewhere around $70,000 to $80,000. And I know this because my next 4 months, when I changed this and built SOPs, standard operating procedures, around choosing the right offer, I made $120,000. I made $3,100 in my first 4 months. I made $120,000 in my next 4 months, $438,000 in my next 12 months after that. Right? So there's a huge opportunity cost here, huge. So why would trainers avoid such a topic that impacts everybody and that everybody knows about? Right? And sadly, and I'm going to talk blanket statements here, but sadly, it's because they want you to choose the wrong offer. Now that sounds crazy, but it's true. And there's a couple reasons why. It's not because they want you to fail. They don't, right? It's not because they're horrible, bad people. I'm not saying that, right? It's incentivized. And so what I mean is a couple reasons. One, most trainers have a pipeline full of the wrong offers for most of the people. And they've already made the promises to the business owners that they will fill those roles. So not only do they not teach their students how to select an opportunity, they actually convince them to take the wrong one on purpose. Now, whether this is misguided or they're just unaware of it, doesn't matter, because our success is our responsibility. It's not the trainers, it's not the recruiters, not the pipeline, right? Their job is to operate their business. Part of their business is to get a new business owner and pair them with a new setter or closer and collect 3 times. They sell the sales training, they sell the business owner, and then they sell the recruiting. That's their trifecta business model, right? But they're not forcing anybody to take those jobs. We're giving up control and we're saying, what job should I take? And they're like, well, I have this one. That's part of their business model, right? Then when you end up making much less than you anticipated, that's usually when they come back and tell you it's because you need more sales training. The answer to everything is sales training in this space. Of course, we've seen that, right? Not making enough money, sales training. Break your leg, you need more sales training. Everything is about sales training because that's what they're selling, right? So then they have an upsell for you. Oh, if you could join the inner circle, all of a sudden now you'd be making more money. Right? So they're selling you what they have. So most people choose the wrong offer because they don't have a deep understanding of what a good opportunity looks like. And because they don't know how to find the right offer, so they get desperate. Because they've just dropped all this money on sales training, they need to get cash flow. As a business, the number one reason why businesses fail is a lack of cash flow. Because if you have cash flow, you can figure everything else. Cash flow buys you time. Most businesses, most people can figure it out if they have enough time. But if they run out of money, they run out of time. It's the same thing here. Most people fail in remote sales because they run out of time to be able to learn. Right? So they have to go back to the safety net. Right? And so there is a huge myth and misconception that I hear often in remote sales industry. And if people knew how detrimental it can be, they would stop saying it immediately and stop thinking about it. So I want everybody here to really consider this and stop yourself from thinking this. Right? And the idea is something is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. We've all thought it, be honest. Right? When you're getting in and you're early and you feel imposter syndrome and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? Something's better than nothing. Got to start somewhere, whatever the saying is, right? But logically, there is no truth. If we challenge those statements, especially when you hear something often, like challenge it, because it's usually a traditional thought and it usually no longer applies. It has an expiry date, right? So logically, there is no truth to this statement. I'll give you an example of why that doesn't make sense. If I had to choose between putting my hand in a bucket of nothing or putting my hand in a bucket of rattlesnakes, in that scenario, nothing is much, much better than something. Right? So when you say yes, this is the principle behind it that challenges this idea, and people don't realize it because of human bias. When you say yes to something, you are saying no. You are saying no to everything else that could have been in that place. If you say yes to 8 hours a day, you are saying no to everything else that you could have done in that 8 hours. Right? You have to understand that is opportunity cost. Right? And again, humans are biased and we are more risk adverse, right? And more reactive. We're not opportunistic. So we react to the problem, not seeking the solution, right? And so the problem is most people enter this industry coming from the 9-to-5 rat race, and they're running away from it. Most people are avoiding. Most people don't grow up and like, mom and dad, I want to be a remote high ticket closer when I'm older. No, most people did not give a shit or even know about this industry 2-3 years ago, some people 3 months ago, right? They were seeking to avoid something. I don't want to commute. I don't want this job anymore. I don't want to make this shitty money, right? And that's what the online marketers targeted, and they introduced this industry to you, right? So we come in, we're trying to avoid the rat race, the 9-to-5, and then what do? When we get uncomfortable, we go back to the low quality of known, right? That's what humans do when they get uncomfortable or fearful. They go back to what they know, high level of certainty, right? But the rules of the rat race are much different than the rules of remote sales. And so in the rat race, a lot of times something is better than nothing. Making some money is better than making no money. In society, employment is almost automatically better than no employment. But this isn't the rat race. There's one distinct difference that we have to pay attention to, which is you are in a performance-based industry. You are not in the sales industry. You are in the performance-based industry, which means if you are working for a business that doesn't facilitate your ability to perform, being in that job can actually be worse than nothing because it's eating up your time. And if you only get paid on performance and something is missing in that business to allow you to perform, you're wasting time and there's no exchange on performance, which means there's no value to the business, which means there's no money. That is a big difference. Most people come into this industry never having worked in a performance-based industry. And so they don't realize the difference. So they treat this like 9-to-5 and they get stuck. And then the trainers and the pipelines realize this and realize how uncomfortable you are. So they start taking the opportunity away and exchange it for comfort. That's why over the last, I've been in this industry for 7 years, and all I've seen is a steep decline in opportunity as far as earnings and much more comfort. When I started, there was no such thing as base pay. Didn't exist. No such thing. You could not find a job with a base pay, right? But commissions were 15%, sometimes 20, right? So what happens is these business owners and these recruiters realize that they can give up or take opportunity and give you more comfort. And you're willing to do it because out of desperation. Right? So we have to understand that this is the performance-based industry. I get paid to perform, so I need an opportunity to perform, plain and simple. The other myth actually has a long history. And I remember hearing it and it didn't sit right with me. Again, it's one of those sayings, like there's a lot to be said about sayings, like challenge them and find out where they came from, especially if you hear them often, right? Like we hear like money's the root of all evil, like challenge that. Where did that come from? Right? So one of the things that I heard throughout my career, inside and outside of sales, right, is start from the bottom and work your way up. I'm sure we've all heard that. Right? And I remember hearing that and just like trying again to find that in my life. Right? It's the old mailroom fallacy. Start in the mailroom. If you work hard, you can become the CEO one day. Right? So whenever I hear something fishy like that, I challenge it. I look around in my life. I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone who started in the mailroom who is now CEO unless they started their own business. How many people here know someone that started in the most entry-level position, right, and is now the CEO or executive of that same company? I don't know anybody. Right? So again, I am a big process. I am a big modeling fan. Like I find what successful people do, and then I do that enough, and I get similar results. If I can't find that in successful people, then I challenge it, right? And so I don't know anyone who started at a gas station pumping gas that's now an executive for an oil company. If you know anyone, let me know. And so the more I dug, the more I actually found out that the start from the bottom myth was actually started in the beginning stages of the Industrial Revolution. Little history lesson for you. They needed a way to fill these undesirable jobs. So they sold people on the opportunity for growth within the company. Right? Oh yeah, you just start in the factory, but you'll move up. And most people, right, if they work hard, I'm not saying that there's not opportunity if you work hard and get in a company and work your way up. Absolutely. But the majority of people end their career 1.5 promotions up from when they started. And that can be a 40-year career, right? 1.5 to 2 promotions. So you start in the factory, if you work really hard, probably supervisor of the factory. That's the difference, right? And what I found in this is very much the same, right? They just need a way to fill these undesirable jobs. And that happened a long time ago. They're still using the same strategies, right? They have all these DMs that are jobs that are 1,500, 2K a month, right? They have all these jobs with brand new startup businesses. They know that the success rate of coaching is around 15%. They know that. This is not like stuff that I had to uncover and go dateline on them. Like, it's evident. They know it. They're tracking all this stuff, right? So they know that 85% of the coaches who are starting out today will not be here in 2 years. They know that. So the idea that you're going to start with one of the startups, and two, that you magically pick one of the startups that falls into the 15% that's going to grow, right? And three, that they're going to treat you like a partner, and as the company grows, you grow. This idea doesn't make sense, right? If you start as a setter in a company and they grow, what do? What's the first thing they do? Hire another setter. It's not like, okay, well, we've doubled our revenue, now you're VP, setter to VP. No. Oh, we have more leads, we need another version of you. And you can also get stuck because if you're so good at your job and they have trouble replacing you, they want to keep you there because they're building the system. So you're parlaying your bet on 3 things. 1, that you choose the right company, the startup. 2, that they're going to be around long enough for you to grow within that company. And 3, that they're going to value you getting in at the ground floor and promote you equally. I haven't seen it, right? I've seen people that did that with some of the biggest companies in our space, and they actually made less money as they grew, right? When you get to a certain point, a business wants coverage. So they hire more people than they have leads because they want to have an open calendar. So I knew setters that started with a big company who basically took it from startup to 3 million a month. When they started, they were making 5 to 8K a month. When the company was making 3 million, they were barely making 3K. They actually lost money. Right? Because the business is operating like a business, but you're operating like an employee. So you're giving up that control and you're just wishing, hoping, and waiting, which is not a strategy. So I can tell you from experience with complete confidence, there's only 2 things that are going to propel you forward in this business: your performance and your relationships. That's it. Those are the only 2 important factors when you look at where you're at now and where you'll be in a year, right? As far as opportunity, your ability and your history of performance, and the strength and value of your relationships, being valuable to valuable people. Right? The more you perform and the stronger your relationships you build based on value, the better your opportunities are. Right? So relationships is something we teach in depth in UCM. It's the cornerstone concept for how to take someone with no experience and get them 6-figure opportunities quickly. It's a cheat code, right? And I don't like to use that often because I don't like easy, I don't like, quick step, but knowing and having strong relationships is the fastest route to 6 figures if you don't have past performance. It just is, right? And it's accessible to everybody, but no one understands how to use it and leverage it and do it and execute it. So most people have to rely fully on performance. That's why they keep going back into sales training, more sales training, more sales training. I'm telling you right now, unbiasedly, If you think that sales skill is the only thing that determines your earning potential, you are wildly inaccurate, incorrect. You've been misled. You are limited. If you think, oh, if I get better at sales, that's the only thing that can make me more money. I'm not saying that sales skills isn't important. Of course, it's the skills to be able to perform. But if that's the only metric, you're losing the multiplier. Because I can tell you, when I made $3,100 in 4 months, and when I made $120K in 4 months, I was not a better salesperson. I didn't drastically improve 40x my sales skills. Actually, if anything, it was easier sales-wise to make the 120K because the business had the right systems in place. They had the lead flow, they were doing the marketing, they had the branding, they had everything in place. So I was having better conversations and making 40x more based on the relationship, not the sales skill. And I am not the exception. This is happening across the board. Right? When you talk to UCM students that are in that six-figure mark, 90% the opportunities came from relationships, not from skill. Right? And so people in this industry continue to make this mistake through trial and error because they don't truly understand the different types of opportunities and how to filter through and choose. Decision making, right? They make it based on emotion. And I don't know about you, but when I look back of all the bad decisions I made in my life, the majority of them were emotional decisions, not logical decisions. Right? I have a history of making bad emotional decisions and good logical decisions. So we need to understand the logic. Right? So I've spoken to people who have chosen 7 or 8 wrong opportunities in a row. That costs most people this opportunity. That's the cash flow business, right? They have to go back and get a job. So first, I want to talk about the different types of offers and who they are right for, because I think that's really important, right? I like to break it down because there's no one size fits all. People always ask, oh, should I start here or should I start there? I don't know you. I don't know your situation, right? There's different types of opportunities and there's a different process for filtering. So first, right, I call this the transition offer or a lifestyle offer. So this is an offer that has high flexibility on time. Maybe they provide some extra training and support, right? And your income, this is great for someone transitioning into this space, but still needs to make money, right? So the idea is I'll exchange my flexible time, evenings, weekends, whenever I can work. In exchange, right, you give me the support, training, marketing, everything I need from the business to be able to earn somewhere between my survival and my replacement income. Right? This is a temporary shift for people that don't have the bankroll to be able to jump all in. I think it's a smart move, taking a transition offer, right? If I'm making somewhere between my survival and replacement income part-time, I'm pretty confident that I can outperform my replacement income, the money I would make take home if I was working 9 to 5, and then I can make a smooth transition. Right? This is also good for someone that's like, I don't really care about making 10K, 20K, 30K. I want to be home with my kids. If I make 6K a month, I work my own time, I take long vacations, I live my life, I'm happy. That's why it's so stupid when people are like, oh, you only want to make 10K? Yeah, what's it to you? Don't let anybody tell you what you want to make. For me, once I made 40K a year, I wasn't thinking about how to make 70. If I just got better, if I just took a different job, I'm like, how can I make this much money in less time? I want more of my life back. Right? So transition offers, that's 1. 2, entry-level positions. Right? This is an opportunity with lots of reps, lots of training, lots of support. They're lower expectations, higher learning curve. These are what we call like a grinder role. You're going to get good quickly, and you're not going to feel the pressure as much of like, they know they're taking on a lot of people. They know some people are going to drop off because of mindset. So these are typically your DM setter, your outbound, your inbound setter role. If I had to start again, right, from scratch, I would take either an inbound, outbound hybrid role, or I would go strictly outbound, right? Because I'm getting lots of reps. I want a company that maybe sells some low ticket, $29 to $200, and I get to call those leads, and they have thousands and thousands of them. I can make 200 dials a day. I'm going to get sharp, right? So I'm exchanging my time for that experience and that ability to perform. Right? So lots of reps, training, support, lower expectations, right? Easier entry to market. The next one is a challenge. This is where most people end up, right? I call this the investment opportunity, which is like an investment, higher risk. And there's really the two sides. One, it's a passion project. It's something you love to do, and you're willing to trade that. I just really love doing this, and I'm not too worried about the money. Or there's some sort of exchange that like, hey, I'm getting in a startup and I'm getting shares of the company, and as the company grows, I believe in it. And I've worked out the negotiation that as the company grows, I grow with it. The problem is most people enter an investment opportunity and they don't negotiate any of that stuff. So the company grows and they stay in the same position. Right? They take all the risk of like, I'll go out and figure out the sales process for you. I'll be your guinea pig. And then you grow and I stay in the setter role. And then I do that over and over and over again. The majority of opportunities, somewhere around 80%, are investment opportunities, meaning high risk. Hopefully it works out, but a lot of times it doesn't. Then there's two other positions, which is what everybody wants to get to. There's performance, which is the fine oiled machine, extremely solid marketing. They have systems, they have processes, they have proven sales processes in place and a great brand, big audience. Maybe not in the niche that you want. Maybe it's not your dream to be selling that specific product, but you know you can go in and perform because there's a bunch of performers on the team, right? And they figured out the system. You're really changing or trading your time in exchange for the ability to perform. This is where most people want to get to, because once you get to that like $1.5 million, $2 million in sales, you can basically knock every door down, right? You can get any opportunity. So if you can find this performance opportunity, right, you can leverage it fairly quickly to be able to go to that next step, right? We want to get to this part as quickly as possible, because again, what we're leveraging is past performance. So I want 3 or 6 months of performance, because that's what I'm going to bring to be able to get the next, which is the dream offer, right? The dream offer, again, it's not a myth. It happens. We get people in UCM or their dream offers, their #1 company all the time. Like, give me a list of the top 10 companies you want to work with in this space, and we go after those lists, right? So dream offer is a performance offer, plus it's something I love to sell, plus it's got a great culture, plus it's got flexibility for lifestyle. That's where most people want to end up, right? So understanding that there's an exchange here. There is no one size fits all. So you need to understand your situation and make sure the offer fits your needs and desires, right? Now, again, I always say, like, don't go hungry or don't starve waiting for the elevator for the penthouse, right? So the idea of like, I'm going to hold out, I'm on day one and I'm going to hold out for my dream offer, even though I can't pay my bills next month, doesn't make any sense, right? We have to eat, shelter, needs take care of first before desires, right? So obviously it would be nice if we all started out with the dream offer, but that's not realistic. It's also not realistic to think everyone has to start out entry level either. This is the problem. A lot of trainers just give one blanket advice to everybody because they have so many people coming in through their marketing. Luckily for me, I suck at marketing. So I have individuals that I can get to know deeply. I have a small group. So I can give personalized advice to each individual based on their situation. We can figure out what they can exchange. So when I'm considering what role is right for what person, I base it on resources. And there's specifically 4 resources that I think of. Time, most valuable resource in life. Money, second most valuable resource in life, right? Transferable skills, and proof, which is, in this case, past performance. Time, money, transferable skills, and past performance. When I sum those up, that's going to determine how focused I am on my needs or my desires. In UCM, we call it our must-have and our wish list. Our must-have is non-negotiables, right? I need a company with proven sales process, non-negotiable. My wish list might be, I want to work in e-commerce, or I want, extra time flexibility. I want to take Friday off, but I don't need it. So the goal is I will hit everything on my must-have. These are non-negotiable, and then transition to how many things can I get off the wish list. Right? So the idea is to use the resources you have to exchange for more. That's economy. That's people who win in the economy realize that if they can trade 1 for 3, they can start to propel themselves forward. So for example, I'll use what we just talked about. Let's say that you have a lot of time, but you have limited money, transferable skills, and past performance. That's the majority of people when they come into this industry. So you're going to be looking for either an entry-level position, right, where you can get the reps, where you can trade your time for money and performance and transferable skills, or an entry-level performance position, right, depending on where you can sell yourself, right? So basically, the exchange is your time to make sales, which makes money, which develops skills to gather proof of performance. So you've traded one resource, now you have all 4. At which time you leverage those 4, now you can start moving into the performance offers and the dream offers, because they want to exchange your performance for their marketing and their company, right? So let's say your biggest limitation is time. Let's change it, right? Because you have job and kids, then you're going to be looking for a transition or lifestyle offer that has a lot of time flexibility. You can work that job until your transition income surpasses your survival or replacement income. Then you can drop that job, either take on more hours in your current position, or leverage your past performance for a performance or dream offer. Again, it's all about the economy exchange. It's all about leverage. And if you have time, money, past performance, and skills, you should be looking for the dream offer or high level performance offer, because you can afford to take more time to be able to find the right offer. You can turn down the majority of offers you're getting and be more selective. The problem that I see is most often is salespeople think that a change of role is somehow a guaranteed promotion and a way to make more money. This is a totally wrong way of thinking about it. 100%. It's a very costly mistake. Thinking that setter is a promotion from DM setter and closer is somehow an automatic promotion from setter. Most people think it, right? Closers better than setters, right? Hear people all the time. It's not the case. This is going to be hard for some people to understand, but the role is less important than the opportunity. For example, I know setters who are making $15K a month right now, this month. I know closers who are making $2K a month. Can you really make the argument that a $2K closer role is a promotion from a $15K setter role? It's hard for me to swallow that. In a performance-based industry, the title is the least important part of the equation. Just like when you meet someone, their name is not that important when you think about it, right? Great name, total asshole, they're an asshole. Right? Horrible name, but beautiful person. The traits matter more than the title, right? That's why we need to get better at identifying proven opportunities. So when I say proven, I mean, we need to look at the numbers. Do not depend, say this again, do not depend on a job post for accurate income predictions. Some of you may see OTE, but few truly understand it until they touch the stove and realize, oops, made a mistake. OTE stands for on target earnings. That is supposed to mean, and used very loosely in this industry, if you hit the targets that the company sets for you, you should earn what the job post says. But who's to say where those targets came from? Companies miss targets. Salespeople miss targets. For example, last year, I missed every single target I set for UCM financially. And we had a great year. We had a fantastic year, but I set very high targets. Most entrepreneurs do. We're stupidly optimistic. That's why we're entrepreneurs. We think the best of everything. We think the next thing we're going to do is going to change the world. We're always selling ourselves and other people on the opportunity. And it always takes 3 times longer than we thought, and it's less impactful than we thought. So you can't base your income and your success as your responsibility, not theirs. right? There's always going to be someone selling you on the idea. Right? Targets are missed, so we should not use OTE as an indicator for predictable earnings. Instead, we need to dig deeper. There's two ways to get more predictable and proven numbers when it comes to earnings. These are typically not displayed in a job post, which means we are going to need to ask questions. The first way is very simple. Again, nothing is 100% accurate, but it's going to be much better than OTE. It's going to be much better than the job post. Right? Very simple math. Find out the monthly revenue of the company. Last month is the best month to find out. Right? Divide by the number of people in the role that you are considering, and then multiply the commission. Right? So I'll walk you through the example so it makes sense. If a company is doing 200K a month in revenue, and there are 2 closers, and the commission is 10%, it would be 200K divided by 2, it's 100K, and then multiply by 0.1, the commission. That equals 10K. That's the prediction for earning potential. So it's revenue, number of people in the role, times by commission. It's going to give you a ballpark average, right? But my personal favorite way, and it's even more simple, I asked the business owner or hiring manager last month, what did your average closer or setter make? What's the average? Right? How many people on the team? What was the average? Right? Then I asked them, what did your best closer or setter make? All of a sudden, now I have a range. I don't always know. I'm not so arrogant that I think I'm going to come into the company and outperform the top person by day one. But every single person on this call should be confident that they could come in and work their ass off and be better than average. If you don't believe that you can come into a company and be better than average, what are you doing? Right? We model the top people and we outwork them, and we will be better than average. So very simple. If the top setter is making 10K and the average setter is making 5K, I'm predicting my earnings is going to be somewhere between 7 or 8K. Right? Average and best, somewhere in between. Right? Low end, 5K, high end, 10K plus. Right? So I ask all of these questions on every single interview. Monthly revenue, specifically last month or last 3 months, number of setters and closers, the best earner or leaderboard, and the average earner. If I have that, I can actually do the math. Now I have predictable earnings. If a business owner doesn't know these numbers or is hesitant to give them to you, this is a red flag, huge red flag. Our income is directly tied to the numbers of the business, so we have a right to know. And I would never work for a business owner that doesn't know the numbers. If you are in search of a 10K opportunity and the revenue of the company is 10K, you are in trouble. Very basic logic. You will never outperform the revenue of the company. When you get paid 10% of whatever you sell, the chances of you outperforming the revenue of the company is 0. It's impossible. Right? So the goal is not to be picky. I'm not telling you this to start turning down all the offers. Rather, to be thoughtful and selective based on the resources you bring to the table. Remember that I would rather work in an entry-level position with a company with proven earnings rather than be a top closer for a company who doesn't have their shit together. Every single time. It's the same thing. Agency owners doesn't matter. Same thing. The numbers don't lie. Right? Whether I'm selling coaches, whether I'm selling agency owners, whether I'm selling windows, doesn't matter. I need to know the numbers. What's the average person making? What's the top closer making? Plain and simple. All right. Now, going to burn through the others really quickly. Right. Second mistake, taking the wrong offer can easily burn 6 weeks to 6 months. See it time and time again. Right. Which brings me to the next point, which is staying in the wrong offer. It's a sunk cost fallacy. Again, the human brain is extremely flawed. It's a bias that we all have. We stay in things longer than we should because we've invested so much time and energy, and we think that it's going to turn around next week, next month, whatever, right? Brian Tracy talks about zero-based thinking. Knowing what I know right now today, eliminate the past. Today, what is the right decision? Make that decision. Often you can't lose. Right? Make the decision today. We stay in relationships way too long. We stay in businesses way too long. If it's not working, find something that is. right? So red flags, right? If they've lied, if they lack integrity, if they keep saying things are going to be better and they're not, right? If there's low satisfaction rate for clients, right? If they're telling you one thing and doing another, if they're eating up a lot of your time, but you're not able to perform. So if the majority of your day is doing non-performing tasks and you're getting paid on performance, it's a red flag. They're basically leveraging you, free labor, to build their business. Right? If you aren't able to perform in a company, leave for a company that you can perform in. Even if you have to start again at the very bottom of a great company, that is better than being at the top of a startup that doesn't have their shit together. Promise you. All right. Last one, really quickly, only focusing on sales skills. This traps people 100% of the time. If you have great sales skills and no one fucking knows you, what are the chances of you getting hired? What are the chances of you finding out about that opportunity that never gets posted? Relying on skills is a limiting factor. Again, the relationships is the multiplier. The most talented singer in the world is probably not anybody we know about. There's probably someone better than Adele or whoever. I don't know singers, but there's probably someone out there better. But no one fucking knows they exist. So they probably make a fraction of what the top singers in our industry make. I have never hired someone that I didn't know existed. It's impossible. Right? So your brand needs to expand. If you want to work hard and just rely on skill, you can do it, but you're limiting yourself so hugely. Right? So focus on personal development. Build, you are the product. Expand. Again, success principles. Why are the best companies in the world spending so much on research and development? Because they know that that's part of staying competitive, right? Personal development is your way to stay competitive in the market. Leadership. I won't get into the economics, but there is a huge shift in the marketplace now where the leaders are retiring. There's a huge shift in demographics. There's a huge disruption happening. Leadership is going to drop significantly. There's going to be huge opportunities for leaders, especially with more automations and everything that's happening with AI, right? Leadership is going to be where the opportunity is. Networking, outreach, interviews, decision-making, productivity, working through your limiting beliefs, working through the shit that your parents fucked you up with, right? That's parents' jobs. I always say, parents' job, they did a good job if they fucked you up. That's what they're supposed to do. We have to unfuck ourselves, right? It's cute when you're 16 to rebel against your parents, right? But blaming your parents has an expiry date, and it's somewhere around your 18th birthday. After that, it's not cute anymore. It's your fucking responsibility, and we're all in the same boat. Some parents were really good at their job of fucking their kids up. Some people not so good. Right? Doesn't matter. It's your responsibility now. They're going to be gone, and you're going to have to live with the results, and then it's your job to fuck your kids up a little bit. Right? So go through the things that are holding you back. Do you procrastinate? Are you a perfectionist? Do you use negative self-talk? How do you react to certain things? Being able to clear those things out. Life is basically a sum of how many positives can you add and how many negatives can you remove. The people who end up on the top, it's that simple. Like, we complicate it way too much. Can today, if I do a bunch of positive actions and I remove the things that are holding me back, I'm going to propel myself forward. If I stack that up over a month, I'm going to be in a totally different position. You are now, like I said, one of the parts of being in a competitive performance-based industry is you are competing. And you're competing with people like myself who are obsessed and crazy and don't sleep until we hit our goals. Like, this is not the exchange transaction industry where I work 1 hour and I get paid 1 hour. You put 100% in, you're only going to get 80% out. You put 50% in, you get 10% out. You put 10% in, you get shit all out. Right? You have to become well-rounded. You have to become obsessed with progress and improvement. You have to use opportunities like this to propel yourself forward and gather everything I've learned and learn from my mistakes and other people and just be a sponge everywhere. Those are the people that are learning faster from other people's mistakes. Hopefully that helps. If you need any further help, this is what we do every single day in UCM. Imagine doing this 80 hours in 4 months. Imagine having access to me every day. We can talk it out. We can work through it. Imagine having me working on your career with you. Right? I don't like to lose. If you haven't figured that out, like if you fail, I fail, and I fucking hate to fail. So having me in your corner is a good person to have. If you've been spinning your tires or you feel like it's good, but you want to get great, I'm here. Let me know.